Wood shop. Thank God for wood. I could center on the lathe and I could make the furnace shine. The teacher couldn't make as good a lamp face as mine. My parents came on Parents' Day. They saw my stuff and said, he ain't no Einstein, no, but he's good. Wood shop. Thank God for wood.
It is 10 o'clock, and this is Lancaster Woodturners Coffee Hour, number 77 for November 11th. My name is John Kelsey, and I'm your moderator for today, as every week. This is Veterans Day in the U.S., but when I grew up in Canada, this was Armistice Day. And 11 o'clock of the 11th month of 1918, they ended World War I. They waited till 11 o'clock and killed some more guys on the way. That's another question, but never mind. Let me see. I have a list of things that I want to mention to you today. Everybody, can you guys all hear me okay?
Sure.
Okay. It's a small group at the moment, 17, 18, but there'll be, I suspect more will be clicking on. Let me see. From the Lancaster Club, we are collecting dues for 2022, and more than half the club has sent me in dues. Most of you guys have. You don't have to belong to the Lancaster Club to attend Coffee Hour, but we appreciate it if you decide to join us. You can send me dues to my home address, which is in the club membership list that Barry sends out and in the emails I send out, or you can PayPal it. But if you PayPal it, PayPal to a friend. If you PayPal to a business, PayPal takes a couple bucks off. If you PayPal to a friend, PayPal doesn't take off. So if you decide to PayPal your dues to my email address, do it. Consider me your friend, and the club ended up with the full 30 bucks. Let me see. Thanksgiving Day in 2 weeks, we will not be here. I will be at my niece-in-law's, dandling a brand new 18-month-old baby on my lap, and not doing Coffee Hour. The videos for the last 2 weeks were posted yesterday. The essay that I've been working on for a while, that I sent an earlier draft around to a number of you, and I got great feedback, is completed and posted on the AAW chapter leadership board, and then I believe Junkerth also has posted it to the club website. It's about a 15-page PDF, 12-page PDF that tells how we got to where we are with a video studio married to a woodworking demo shop, and it tries to break it down into bite-sized pieces for the clubs who have not decided they want to do this, to explain to them why they ought to do this. And the main benefit, of course, is you can timeshare. You can attend the meeting on Zoom. You can attend the meeting in person and touch the wood. You can watch the video later on. And those are choices we never had before. So our club, for one, has decided we like those choices, and we're going to keep them. Let me see. Okay, I also have you guys are all here, so you probably don't watch the videos, but I have I found a theme song, and I cut a chunk of it out of the tape for the videos, but I'm going to play you the whole tune now. It's only a minute, and we'll see if I can do this. I'm going to try sharing screen.
Northern Ohio, 1956, I was lousy at football and picking up chicks. There wasn't anything I could really do the best, so I done the best that I could. Wood shop. Thank God for wood. I could center on the lathe and I could make the furnace shine. The teacher couldn't make as good a lamp face as mine. My parents came on Parents' Day. They saw my stuff and said, he ain't no Einstein, no, but he's good. Wood shop. Thank God for wood.
John, I really appreciate that since I'm a former woodshop teacher.
Well, I've sliced the chorus and the middle part of that out to make that's a 1-minute song, and I got 30 seconds of blank titles at the beginning of our videos for the coffee hour. So from now on, that's going to play right along with the titles on the videos.
My hat's off to you for the music editing on audio. That's awesome. I didn't notice that you edited it. So,
well, you didn't. That was the whole tune right there. It's a Martin Mull song off the album Normal from 1974, which I remembered because my ex-wife and I had that album. I couldn't find it. My son doesn't have it, but I found one on eBay. And Doug had a turntable that I could plug into my computer, so we managed to pluck the tune off the disc last night.
I wondered where you found it because I went looking and Amazon wanted to charge me to be Amazon Music person, and I said, screw this.
They don't have it anyhow. I mean, all the lyric things, a lot of them say they have the lyrics to the album, but they only have the first tune and maybe the Dialing for Dollars. The first tune's called Normal, and the Dialing for Dollars was kind of a hit at the time. And they didn't record the rest of them, so they're just not there. They're not available. They're not on YouTube. Not on any of the lyric services. So, you know, Martin Mull's estate, if he's still, I don't know if he's still alive or not, Martin Mull or his estate may come after us for copyright infringement, and we'll figure out if they want us to pay them $1 or whatever. But probably nobody will ever hear of it, and we'll be good.
Isn't that an oxymoron? Martin Mull and normal?
That's what made the album kind of funny back in the day. Anyway, it's a funny tune, and I think it's a good theme song for us if you guys are okay with it. Sounds like you all are. Nobody was offended by that, were they? It was kind of the story of my high school life, I have to tell you. No good at sports and rusty with girls, and if it wasn't the electronic shop, it was the wood shop, one or the other. Let me see who's got stuff they'd like to do today. I do have a little slideshow as well, and I'll show you. But let's see who else has got a hand up. Bruce Lamb and Alan Miller and Jim Duxbury and Ernie Conover and okay. And I know that Ray is hot to tell us all about ebonizing. So let's start with Ray, and we'll chip through some of them. And I might hold my little slideshow and I might show it. It's something I found in my archive that I think you'll also like. Anyway, over to Ray. What do you got, Ray?
Thanks, John. Barry, this is for you. As I was saying earlier, went to a demo and they talked about ebonizing, and guys were bringing it up just like we did last week. And I can't remember the demonstrator's name. He said, "You guys are over the top. The easiest way to do that is just take a magic marker, one of them permanent markers, and whatever wood you use, paint it with a magic marker, hit it with CA glue. That's it." And it was like, really? That simple? And he says, "I've tried everything that guys have talked about, no cost. That's the stuff you got in your shop." And everybody was saying was a marker, but whatever's in the marker, and then hit it with a CA glue, it lasts and it looks like ebony.
Well, these Sharpie markers, they're pretty black. A lot of markers are kind of purple and blue back. If you thin them out a bit, you spread them out. But these Sharpies, they're black. So yep. That's one that works. And
then protecting it with CA glue. That's it. So it's worth a try. It's cheap, and who knows?
On the other hand, if you try and protect it with lacquer, the color will just run.
Do you apply the CA glue with the lathe turning?
Well, that's up to you.
If it interacts with the marker, it's liable to cause black rings in the direction of turning.
Well, you don't have that. You don't have that much on there. You hit it with a permanent marker. It's dry, like instant. By the time you got to your CA glue, it's probably dry. It's worth a try, Barry. Because
I'll add it to my list.
Because if it spins,
year, when we had that the one challenge included making an ornament with a 3-inch or longer finial, and John Kelsey mentioned to me about markers. And it worked really well. And it actually has as you buff it out after you put it on, there's like a ruby, like a deep ruby cast that starts to be accentuated. It made for a very attractive, it did not look like ebony, but it made for a very attractive color where it was black with some, as wine experts would say, notes of ruby.
Notes. Well, if you try the black and it does spin some off, when I see you next time, you'll have a line up there running somewhere. That's going to take a couple of weeks to get off.
Sharpies
Okay.
don't do that. Yeah, I remember that now. That's what I did last year with the ornaments. I made ornaments with finials and colored them with a Sharpie, and everybody thought they were ebony. They were actually very good.
A question on the CA glue. When you apply that, you use a brush or a rat. How do you put that on? I get it in the little tubes. Obviously, you need more than that.
No, it doesn't. CA glue, a little bit goes a long ways.
And you put it on how?
You put it on with a little piece of paper towel.
Okay.
I mean, it's, if you put it on with a lathe running, you touch it, it goes zip, you're done.
Okay.
Do
Yeah,
you use medium
That's what
CA?
you're going to get on your glasses if you're standing there. How do I know that?
Yeah.
What weight
Yes,
CA
what-
do you use?
Go ahead.
What weight CA do you use, medium or thin?
No, thin.
Then
Thank you.
I wouldn't do it. I don't
Yeah,
like
my
CA. I wouldn't do it with CA. I'd find something else. And in fact, the black Sharpie is pretty indelible all by itself. It's not going to come off in your fingers. Nice
A
dolphin.
black Sharpie is not light fast, though. In about 10 years, it will fade to nothing. If you really want it to be archival, use a Sakura marker or a Stadler, I guess it is the German, which are archival and will never fade.
You know,
Also Tombos. Barry did a study last year and found which ones were archival. You found 3 or 4 of them, didn't you, Barry?
Yeah, I guess the problem for a surface area is, I think the fattest that both the Japanese one and the Stadler one come in is like 1 millimeter or maybe 3 millimeters. So you can do a lot of coloring to get it.
What
You
about
can
the
get this.
Tombow with the brush?
Yeah, that's to get a brush.
Tombow
Yeah,
brush
it's-
markers.
Yeah.
see,
Okay, I'll look at that.
I hate to be like a doom and gloom guy, but if I do something tomorrow, it's going to last 10 years. I'm not going to be worried about it. And
I don't care either. I'm not going to be here in 10 years either. So.
that's right. So I mean, not to make any of you guys worry, but you look on the screen and anybody that's sitting here 10 years arguing about it will say, you know what? It didn't last 10 years. Yeah, okay.
Give them their money back.
That's right.
Oh, geez.
Well, that's why we can keep this thing going, Ray. I don't see anybody on screen who isn't retired,
Yeah.
except me.
So we're going to have a competition. Who's going to be here in 10 years? Is that do we start filling that competition?
No, we nominate you. You'll be here in 10 years. You can
I
run.
better be. I better be. I'm a young man yet. So my dad's 93. I keep telling him every time he adds a year, I add a year to my expectations. So
That's it. You thank them. That's
Yeah.
like, Stolpe. Every time I see Martin, I thank him. He goes, what are you thanking me for now? I says, every time I see you, you give me hope.
yep.
Well, he's a World War I veteran or something, isn't he?
He's, I don't know, he's old timer from somewhere.
He was a Korean War veteran.
So, okay, thanks, Martin.
Who's next? Who's going to raise their hand? Okay, Barry, let's go to Bruce. Bruce is next. What do you got, Bruce?
I think the last couple months I've been showing some multi-axis stuff that was all parallel axes. So I've, of course, now moved on to non-parallel axes. I regret that I didn't bring a couple of slides showing how this is made, but it's really quite simple. This is using 3 non-parallel axes that are 120 degrees apart, which causes some twist. but it's all done from one end by simply angling the piece in your chuck. It's really not, no marking of the piece is done. It's really quite simple. You simply take your toolbar, your tool rest, and put it a known distance from a reference point. Like here I put from the edge, I believe I used about 1.5 centimeters from the edge of this, and tilt the piece till it just touches your tool rest. Now, I have one advantage in that my lathe has digital indexing. So then when I want the next one, I just spin it over to the 1/3 around the lathe and click in, and I get the next point. And I was really pretty happy with the feature in the middle here of the discs, which is what I was shooting for. I can't say I love the rest of the piece. I wanted 3 beads on the bottom to match the 3 discs. And then I realized with the short base, it looks like 4 beads, but there really are only 3 beads there. But anyway, it was really a test piece to see how I could use this element where I have 120-degree rotating axes. And I kind of went for it and put it on a finial.
Well,
so this is...
I was waiting for somebody to do that trick and actually make something attractive. An awful lot of the stuff that's done that way is okay, it's interesting, but it's not attractive.
Yeah, sometimes it's pretty rough looking, and I think that's part of it. And what I've tried to do is avoid getting into carving. That's kind of where I've drawn the line here, is if I can make it on the lathe, I'm good with it. In this particular piece, I've tried to take the distance that I have here with a fairly large base, and then if you run your eye up, you kind of get a single line going all the way up to the top of the finial. And then the obviously piece. Now here, I didn't use your Sharpie trick. This really is ebony, but ebony is just really great for making finials. It makes such a difference when you have a piece of ebony trying to get fine detail here. So there's actually 4 pieces here. There's the finial, there is a collar on the finial, and the finial is removable. And then the base, which is built into a tenon on the bottom of the hollow form. And the hollow form is about 4 inches in diameter. Really came out more spherical than I was intending, but I kind of took was a scrap piece of maple burl to try this out. And I'm pretty happy with how it worked out, but it's still, when I looked at it, I thought the finial was a little too beefy, but I think it works on the piece. But
what is the piece, Bruce? Is that purely decorative, or is it a potpourri thing, or a Christmas ornament, or what is it?
It was meant to be purely decorative. It is a hollow form. The piece is hollowed out, and it's a little too big to be a Christmas ornament, although it certainly looks like one, I suppose.
Very cool. Questions for Bruce? Comments?
Your previous piece, was it hollowed out on the top?
Yes, it's a goblet at the top. Yeah, this is cherry.
How are you going to hold that with all those sharp edges around where you grab the goblet?
In this case, the pieces, they're really not that sharp, and there is a significant base there, but I don't think this will ever get used as a goblet, but I appreciate that thought. I had one, when people were talking about how do you make bottle stoppers, a lot of people put points on the top, which is really not attractive from a use perspective as well. So I get the comment.
I have a feeling the fingers would sit nicely in the middle between those offsets. I think that you could put your fingers in there. That would work.
It's probably not quite big enough. This piece is about 6 inches top to bottom, with maybe 2 inches in the goblet piece. But that's actually not a bad thought to think about from a design perspective. I was just working on the element, though. But it's a fair comment.
The French guy Escalon makes chucks that do that, and all of his things look like golf drivers. You know, that's basically the shape he gets out of it over and over again as a golf driver.
I attended the fundamentals over the weekend, and Beth did one on off-center turnings. It intrigued me. Yeah, she did pretty straightforward stuff, nothing quite as elaborate as that. But it was I attended both Saturday and Sunday. It was a good thing. It wasn't entirely fundamental. So,
anybody else attend? Okay, well, you're our reporter then. Any other questions for Bruce? Oh, we got him here on this one. Okay.
I can go.
All right, Alan, what do you got?
Yeah, last week I brought a large large walnut bowl that had a crack on the bottom. The suggestion at the time was to turn off the recess and see if I could pare some of the crack out and start over. I thought I was making success. I did pare it off the recess. I put a tenon on it. And I was making good progress until the sides of the bowl blew out in a major way. So now I've got a platter.
Nice save.
But I was able to salvage that much. And so the one thing that I did want to ask about, though, well, one additional thing I wanted to, I find one of those things, I needed it for a long time, and I've looked at them and I just didn't get it done. They're not that expensive, $20 for the little foam sanding and I don't know, 80 some disc, but and that made a big difference in getting things smoothed out and taking out the tool marks and scratches and so on. So I'm really pleased I did that. But the question then, this came along with it. And I don't know if anybody knows what that is or what it does.
Looks
Angelo,
like
raising his hand.
Yeah, that's a little sanding disc holder to sand by hand. It's got Velcro on top.
Ah,
so that
okay.
you don't have to grip the piece of sandpaper.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Where'd you order that from, Alan? I'd love to have one of those instead of always messing my thumbs up in a bowl or something.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, not to sand or something like that. Okay.
Wood Turning Wonders sells them.
Okay, I'm acquainted with them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
Hey,
you,
Alan.
Yo.
I'm sorry. As president of the funnel club, you cannot be in it if you don't show evidence of it making a funnel. That looks like a perfectly good piece, so you can't join. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it was not, Jim. It was not a funnel. It was loaded. And
Okay.
a couple of days later, I found a few of the pieces on the other side of the I couldn't tell where they went to. But then I also tried to return another bowl. And when I got too thin on the side, and I lost some pieces on that one too. So last week was not a real good week in terms of turning thinner.
Better, Maggie.
Alan?
Yeah.
I got Trent Bosch's stabilizer the other week, and I decided to first try it on a burl I had. I said, instead of working inside, I want to work where I can see how it's working. Well, it invites you to be pretty aggressive because it works real well. Well, I got too aggressive and bark inclusion, voids all over the shop, so
now
I learned.
Is this a tool or is this a chemical?
No, it's a tool. It's
okay.
It's one of those hollow turning tools that he sells. It's
okay.
a non-captured one. It's one your tool
Gotcha.
sits on the.
Yeah.
So
I got a related problem to that sanding question. I'm trying to perfect the art of flattening discs. And what I've been doing is sanding with a flat block. Turn the disc as flat as I can, and I want to then get it actually flat. And what I find keeps happening is when I approach it with the flat block, if I don't hit it dead square on, I wind up beveling the edge of the disc with that first contact. How do I not do that?
Are you using a piece of wood as your block?
I've tried wood, I've tried Barry's Velcro sanding blocks, and I've tried rubber sanding blocks.
Huh. I use a big piece of 2x4 and put the sandpaper right in the middle of it and set it on top of the tool rest. And then you can come square into the thing.
I think that's the key, isn't it? Coming square into it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's where I'm screwing up, I realized last night after I buggered up 2 or 3 of them.
The other thing, I made a 20-inch sanding disc for my lathe, and I love it. It's one of my favorite tools in the shop. 20-inch sanders turn at 3,000 RPM or something. They're screaming, and you could tear your arm off on that thing. If you make a disc and buy 20-inch sandpaper, you can turn that thing down to 900 RPM or something. You can do your fingernails on it. It's fabulous. You got to have a fabulous dust collector because it looks like you've been standing in a snowstorm in 2 minutes. But I'll tell you, 80 grit sandpaper on that thing it's one of my favorite tools now.
Well, I've got a 12-inch disc sander, but I find if I come up to it with a disc, I get the same thing. I'm going to bevel the edge because I can't land it perfectly flat. I'm always a little bit off, and then it's then getting rid of that beveled edge. I make the disc a little thinner, and then pretty soon I don't have enough wood there for the project.
Hey, John, use your vacuum in a reverse. Put it on the tailstock. Is there a way to do that? I don't use vacuum, but that would help hold it flat.
I don't have a vac. I could. That's what I could do. I could use. I've got a big cone, a cone center that goes on the tailstock. I've often used that to maintain parallelism or right angularity. Maybe I'll use that and then advance the ram. That might work.
On the tailstock, if you've got a bowl and you want to flatten it, you can put an adapter on your tailstock to adapt it to inch and or in 1 inch or whatever it is, 1'8", and then put your faceplate on the tailstock and run the whole thing into it. I do that if I have to flatten rings, like if I'm making a bowl and I want it flat, I can just crank it.
That's a hell of a good idea. I'm going to experiment with that tonight. I think that's going to be my solution.
Well, and then you can crank it in a millionth of an inch at a time, just crank it in slow. Yeah. And
that's a good idea.
What exactly are you trying to flatten, John?
A discs that are about 3.5 inches in diameter. Actually, I'm making magnet boxes, and they involve a 3-part blank, and that has to get glued up and then reparted. And I'm going to tell the club all about it next spring when I demo magnet boxes. Since I haven't made one in about 3 years, I figured I better remember how to do this. And I remembered some of it, and I've reinvented some of it, and I'm stymied on this flattening. But I think I just got the answers.
Well, the easiest way is if you have the tools to use a drum sander. If you don't have a drum sander, then what Jim is suggesting is absolutely correct. And exactly what I've done for segmented bowls where you have to get the edges flat. It works the same way. And I usually use a 2x4 or some kind of fairly long piece of plywood to do that as well.
That's what I use. That's what I've been using, but that's where every time I wind up, there's a little part of the edge of the disc it's flat in the middle, but it's not flat there because I approached at an angle. It's me. So the tailstock ram is a good idea. It's the way to solve that, I think.
Bruce, I thought about a drum sander as well, but I'd be a little scared of 3.5-inch ones going in there. I think that's almost at the minimum that you should feed in size to a drum sander. I have one and I love it. And I was thinking the same thing, but I thought, no, they're going to tip a little as they hit the drum, and you're going to have the same problem. Or don't you think so, Bruce?
As long as you're not too aggressive with how much you've taken off, I think you can get away with it.
You might be right. You might be right.
I don't have a drum sander, but my son does. So next time I'm up at his place, I'll try it. I might try that too. Angelo.
Yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit more about this 20-inch disc sander. What is it made of, and what's its surface?
Oh, it's made of MDF with a large faceplate. I have about a 6-inch steel faceplate screwed to it, and I turn it and flatten it, and then buy a piece of sandpaper. You can buy that from Klingspor or something, 20-inch discs. Don't go more than about 80 grit. Probably 80 grit's a good one just to have around, but I'll tell you, a 3-inch disc, you can hold that on there and in 4 seconds, you got it. But the nicest part is you can slow it down to 200 RPM, and you can't do that with a 20-inch disc sander. Right?
Yeah.
So there's no Velcro, there's no foam, no. It's just glued directly to the MDF.
I spray it and screw it. Oh, the other thing is, the set screws in the back, make damn sure you set those, because when you turn the lathe off, that thing is huge and it's got inertia. When you want to see something take off across the shop, I get out of the way because it runs all over the place. I've never seen that happen, but I've heard it.
I have seen that.
You read that in a book somewhere, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
And Jim,
You only do that once.
Maybe twice.
What adhesive did you use to hold the paper on?
Oh, Lord, I don't know. Any of the spray contact adhesives, I think.
Okay. Okay.
You can buy 20-inch discs with pressure sensitive on them, but
Yeah.
that's the other option.
I do that. In fact, mine does have the pressure sensitive, but on wood, that's made for a steel plate. On wood, it's not quite enough. You got to have a little, just dust it with some spray contact adhesive. But I've never had to take it off. Lord help me, I may have to get a new piece of MDF. I don't know, but it's fabulous.
What grit are you using on that?
80 grit. I could probably show that.
We'll get to you in a sec. Yeah. Alan, you got another comment on this?
yeah, I do. I'm a bit curious as to how you fasten you're fastening the sandpaper. You're fastening what are you fastening to the tailstock?
No, this goes on the headstock.
Okay, but when you were talking about you bringing up the tailstock like a ram, that would be your workpiece then? The piece you're trying to sand?
I'm going to use a cone and then hold the workpiece against a cone. And that I've got I've got several metal cones that fit on the screw right onto the live center and the tailstock. And that gives me a right angular surface.
That won't wobble or that'll stay straight?
Doesn't seem to wobble.
No,
Okay.
it's pretty straight, yeah.
Okay, that thank
Alan?
you. Yeah.
Alan, I assume the other Jim was referring to a tailstop, the tapered one with like a threaded, like your headstock threaded, and then you can put a faceplate on that.
Okay.
And that'll guarantee a straight in run. Is that what you were talking about, Duxbury?
Yeah.
Okay.
It works good. In fact, sometimes I mount my workpiece on the tailstock and put the disc sander on the headstock. It works both ways around.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find this thing. I'll try to find it someplace.
Well, while you're hunting, who's next?
By the way, I saw recently advertised a Jacob's chuck threaded right into your headstock thread. You didn't have to use the tapered adapter. I thought that was kind of cool. Anyways, so.
Gilo's next. What do you got, Dave?
Hi. Hey, I haven't been around for a couple of weeks. I had some surgery. So in the run up to all of that, I was trying to get a whole bunch of things done, but I had cut out some blanks and just didn't get to them. And so even though I'm still on a little bit of lighter duty, so to speak, the last few days I've roughed out some of those blanks. I thought I might probably lose them, they would crack, but they turned out well. So I got a little maple bowl and an oak one that I've done. But prior to that, I did right before the last piece I did was a heart-shaped maple once turned bowl. And I think I'm gonna finish this off, sand it, and finish it with some clear lacquer here in the next couple days. But
why is that heart-shaped? How did you get to that?
Well, it's got the 3 points of it's a crotch, okay? There you get the heart shape.
Well, I see that, but I mean, did you saw that out, or did the wood just not have that piece, or how? Yeah, your finger is. Where'd that piece of wood go?
This is a crotch piece.
Okay.
Okay. So
bark, yeah.
So yeah, the bark is gone.
Yeah.
You know, this was just cut a month ago. So you know, it's really hard to keep a bark on this in a fall cut tree.
I see what's going on now. Yeah.
Okay. So it ends up being bigger than the original diameter of the piece itself. Okay.
Nice.
And Yeah, it's about, it's a heavy 1/8 inch, but it's going to sand out real nice. And I want to keep as much natural color to it. And so I think I'm just going to rattle can it and try that out. But I have been able to finish out a bowl. Last fall, we had a person contact the club about buckeye tree that was coming down, and anybody that wanted it could come and get it. So this is a twice turn bowl. I just finished here the other day, and first time working with buckeye. I don't know if you've ever worked with that at all. This stuff stinks like high heaven, man. This is the worst smelling wood I've ever machined in my life. When it was wet, okay. But I'm going to take this over to them here in the next couple of days. So that's what I've been doing, and to get back into the swing of things.
Nice.
I have a question on when you go to second turn bowls. What do you guys do with your everything's out of round? I mean, how do you get it back in the tenon or mortise? What do you do? Just live with it?
When you first turn the bowl, you've got a mark in the back side of it, in the tailstock side. Okay, that's your center point. That's never going to really change. Okay, even though the bowl is going to warp one way or the other. But I just stick it up against my chuck, pull the tailstock in, and then true up the tenon in the outside.
Perfect. Yeah, I dumb me. I was going, how do you ever get it centered enough to work with it? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, Duxbury, what do you got?
I think I got some pictures of this thing. Can I do a share screen?
Please try.
Yeah, okay. Can you see that?
We see, yes.
Yes.
Okay. That's
okay.
That's what the disc looks like. And then I've got other pictures. This is all I could find quickly, but I made a shelf or a flat table. And underneath you can see the dust collector. You've got to have that. And also there's a little block of wood that comes all the way underneath here. And that helps to catch the stuff off of the edge of that.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot imagine how much wood this takes off. It's times 10. Be careful. But the other thing is, like I said, that's a huge disc. Make sure you set the set screws because it'll come off of there in a second. But if you turn it, you can turn this down to 300 RPM, and guys, you can just stand there. A 3-inch block, you would flatten that in seconds. You just hold it against there, press right in the center, and take it off, and it's done.
I'm going to figure something like that out. What else you got? You had some other stuff you wanted to show today.
Oh, okay. Let me get out of this there.
Let me comment on his sanding disc setup. If any of you have an old Shopsmith, I bought one years ago and don't recommend them, but I never got rid of it. And I use it. I use it for just that purpose, for sanding. Like, it's only a 12-inch disc, but you got the table, and you got all the tools to clamp things in place, and it's got a quill, so you move the disc up to the material, and it's perfect for stuff like that.
I'm totally with you. I just like the machine. It's a piece of junk, but I'll tell you, it's a horizontal duroplast. It does all kinds of things you can't do on any other piece of equipment. You bring a 6-foot pole in and try and drill a hole in the top of it. That's the only thing in your shop will do it.
It's the only reason I kept it.
It does all kinds of things that you can pick them up for $300 and people buy them brand new and make a rocking horse or something out of it and never look at it again. But no, I totally dislike it. But
they still make them, do you think?
Yeah, no, but you can buy them. You can buy them on Craigslist. They're always for sale.
But they still make them. I mean, these are current or are they ancient?
These these are old. Mine is.
But I mean, Shopsmith Company is still in business, is it?
Yes.
I think it is, and the new ones are solid state. One of the big problems with this thing is a lathe. Number one, the mandrel is made for table saw, so it's not near high enough to be a lathe. So you got to set the whole damn machine on something 6-7 inches high to get it up to be a lathe. But the new ones, the old ones, would go down to about 700 RPM. And 700 RPM sounds slow, but you put it'll do a 15-inch block, 40 inches long, and you put something on there and turn it to 700 RPM. I used to have a 2x4 frame went between my Shopsmith and the wall, so it wouldn't run around the shop. I could catch up with it and turn something, but it does a fabulous job. The new ones go from their solid state, and I think they go to 30 RPM to 10,000 or something. You can actually use it as a shaper, but I wouldn't want to.
Do you have anything else you want to show us today since you're here?
What?
Do you have anything else you want to show us today?
Sure. You were talking about trays before. I make a tray. Can it be spotlighted? I make trays like this.
I don't have you spotlighted, but I do have you. Yeah, there. Now you're spotlighted for everybody.
I make trays once in a while, and this is made with the handles on it. This is a rectangular piece of wood. And the way they're made, sometimes I use the centers to chuck up, but this is made on a faceplate. And it's a rectangular piece of wood. Where this handle is, I drill a hole. This actually keeps going. I cut these off later. This actually keeps going. Right where this handle is, I drill a hole, and that's my mounting screw. Then I have an alternative set of mounting screws in here. So I can put my screws in here, anchor this on a faceplate, turn the whole handle and the front of this, and take the screw out of here and put it in here and turn this detail in the center here. And when I get done, I cut that off. Okay.
Nice.
This other one, this is a little harder. This one, there we can see it.
Yeah, we got it. No, hold it closer to you. Let it focus on your face. Yeah, there you go. It'll snap in a second.
This camera doesn't like me. Another guy.
Here you go.
Anyway, this has a walnut handle on this side and a cherry handle on this side. This is two pieces of wood put together. You can't hardly see that. Maybe you can see it on the edge. There's cherry on the top and walnut on the bottom. This is two pieces of wood put together on a lathe on a faceplate. And then if you have two pieces of 1 inch thick wood and you offset one side of it 1 inch, when you face this off, you've got one kind of wood on one side and one kind of wood on the other side, okay? And when you turn it around, you could face the whole thing off and you got one kind of wood on one side and one kind on the other side.
You're very sneaky.
You must have your lathe mounted in concrete for that off-balance stuff.
You won't believe it. This was turned on a Shopsmith. My first lathe was on a shop. And I'll tell you why I bought it. I'll tell you why I sold it or bought a lathe. I made a kaleidoscope, 4-mounted kaleidoscope. And it was gorgeous. I have to tell you, it was gorgeous. I submitted it to Fine Wood magazine. They talked to me 3 or 4 times. They called from California. They talked to me, I don't know how many times. And I was going to be on the front page of Fine Wood magazine. The last conversation, the guy was all set and he said, "What kind of lathe did you turn that on?" I said, "A Shopsmith." He says, "Really? We'll get back to you." Never called back. So I could have said Delta, I'd have been on it anyway. I got a couple other things. We talked about making tools, and every now and then, I want to turn a recess down next to the tailstock, and a parting tool is a great big clunky thing, and it won't go in square. So I have a series of these screwdrivers that I've I bent. They don't have to be tempered. It's steel. I just sharpen it more. But anyway, you can reach right in and cut a square opening right next to the tailstock.
Nice.
This other one is just nails stuck in the end of a block of wood. These are lefts and rights. And that's to go in and cut. I could actually show this. I made a set of glasses, champagne glasses. This is one block of wood turned with a loose ring in between it. And that's, they're turned, you can kind of see it this way. First off, I draw all my work is drawn. So this is the actual block of wood. It's probably 2.5 inches square. But there's one glass here and one here, and the shafts are above each other, above and below each other, 90 degrees. And then there's a loose ring turned on here. So this tool will go inside of there. Can't show it. It goes inside there anyway. And there's a left and a right, so you can go in and cut them from both sides. And it lasts 20 seconds. You sharpen it again. You only need it for 30 seconds, but you got to sharpen.
Are those masonry nails?
No, these are just finished nails. I cut the end off, bend it, and put an edge up. This is a drawing of that thing. This is the center.
We are not getting it. You're going to have to give us a demo on that one.
Yeah.
What?
Nice drawing.
Nice drawing.
It's another story.
Huh? I draw all my work. When I put a block of wood on the lathe, I know exactly what's going to come off of it. There's nothing in the middle. One of the funny ones is I also glue the drawing on the block of wood. So I've got the centers, I've got everything exactly where I'm at. I got this one about done, and I went through the side of it. So that was scrap. Then I got this one. I got this one to this point, and I figured out this is made wrong. And when this turns, one glass is going to be on the bottom next to the foot of the other glass. It can't be safe. This is a piece of scrap. But anyway, I kept it just to show what it looks like. But, lots of fun.
You got a demo there, Jim.
Shopsmith too, believe it or not.
You got to demo all this for us. So I'm going to take the spotlight off you. That's just too much.
Never mind.
What do you got, Mark? Mark Skinner, what do you?
I think this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Put the spotlight back on Mark again. I'd like to take a closer look at that.
Just a second. I got to get back out the gallery view. I'm getting all confused here. And I'm going to put where's Mark on my screen? There he is. I'm going to spotlight for everyone. All right.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So it's the live center for the tailstock and just a little faceplate. But that will probably solve your problem of bringing the piece up square.
Right.
It will. Yeah. Thank you.
There again, you should probably hold your hand against it or something, because that damn Morse taper can wobble out of there.
Yeah. But you have to hold that anyway, because if the work is spinning, the sanding disc doesn't want to spin with it. So
yeah,
I'm going to be holding the disc from turning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great solution, and I appreciate that. Like to. Duxbury, you still holding some up, or are you done?
I can if you want. Did you want one more piece?
One more piece, and then we'll go to the song.
This is a triangular bowl.
That's a nice big one.
That is nice.
Turned out of a block of wood, block of Cuban mahogany. I've had it sitting in the shop for 20 years. I don't know. Finally.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's always discouraging when you talk about having wood around 20 or 30 or 40 years. I was hoping to get rid of it before then.
It's just too good to use, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You die with the best stuff in the corner. Yeah.
I only got 10 left.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna take us out on the song again if I can make it play again.
Got a block of wood, and I'll show you.
Play again.
Northern Ohio, 1956. I was lousy at football and picking up chicks. There wasn't anything I could really do the best, so I done the best that I could. Wood shop. Thank God for wood. I could center on the lathe and I could make the varnish shine. The teacher couldn't make as good a lamp face as mine. My parents came on Parents' Day. They saw my stuff and said, he ain't no Einstein, no, but he's good. Wood shop. Thank God for wood.
I just love that.
I do too. Love it.
That's cool. That's
cool.
so cool.
Okay, thank you all. We've come to the end of the afternoon.